Quadrilaterals. Some of this can be confusing, and again, I look at your quizzes, kids. Like one of the questions on yesterday's quiz was, I believe this was the problem. Just a little side note here. All right, 2 days ago, whenever it was, I said, classify this triangle based on its sides. And somebody says it's an acute triangle. There is no way you can be looking in your notes and tell me that by its sides, this is an acute triangle. It's because in your notes, I specifically made 2 categories. I said sides, I said angle. If you look under sides, your only choices are isosceles, equilateral, or scalene. You only have 3 choices. So if you're telling me this is an acute triangle, that may be true, but it is certainly not by its sides. And I have to say you're not really taking your time and looking at your notes if that's the answer you're getting. And sometimes I think we know more than we think we know, if that makes any sense. Sam, did I do something wrong again?
No, but what's the letter after the second R?
Let's see, the first R, it's an I, that's an A. That's an A. Would you prefer I do this? I like this. It's kind of like a more scripty kind of look. I could do capital A. Either way. Quadrilaterals. I'm back to this here. If you remember, we talked about quadrilaterals. They are a polygon. What type of polygons are they, Kate? A quadrilateral is what special type of polygon? Polygon means anything of all sorts of sides. Quadrilaterals are? There you go. 4 sides. Everything we talk about today will have 4 sides to it. A quad, you have quad runners, you have, I don't know. Anything else with a quad? Okay. Is it quad runners? With quadrilaterals, here's my big group of things. We have 3 different types that we can, little subsections here. One of them is really big. The other 2 are not big at all. The first one we're going to write down and we're going to come back to is parallelograms. We're going to come back to that. That's what we're going to talk about 90% of the time. We're just going to talk briefly about this. Let me tell you what a parallelogram is. A parallelogram is, these are all quadrilaterals. It is a quadrilateral that has 2 sets of parallel sides. And we've talked about parallel before. That means they run side by side there. We'll come back to that. I'll have you write that down because it makes more sense when we say that. Sam, what is that letter right there?
E?
I don't know. Sides. Okay. We'll talk about parallelograms. We'll come back to that. Another type of quadrilateral is one of my favorite words in all the world to say. It is a trapezoid.
Trapezoid? Void trap. Just being born.
A trapezoid is simply a shape. It's a quadrilateral that has exactly 1 pair of parallel sides. And the book, in their infinite wisdom, has had you draw them numerous times in your assignments. Remember the ones that's usually problem number 1 or number 2 where it says draw 2 parallel sides and then draw 2 sides that aren't parallel. That's a trapezoid. And so you start with 1 side parallel. These 2 are parallel, these 2 are not. Okay, trapezoid. You could draw it sideways like this if you like. Trapezoid. You could draw it, the top one could be longer than the bottom. Trapezoid. Those are all different types, the way different trapezoids look. And then this one, you'll be lucky if you hear 3 more times in your entire life from this point forward. This is called a trapezium.
What? I've never heard of that.
You know, that's why I said. This is one of the 3 times you'll hear it in your life. Okay. A trapezium is a quadrilateral with no, I repeat, no, not any, nil, none, 0 parallel sides.
Whoa.
Has absolutely no parallel sides. So you just have to, actually sometimes it's hard for me to draw this because you just get used to drawing parallel things. So you know, you got something like this and then something like this and then something like this and then maybe something like that. As long as these 2 are not parallel, which they're halfway there. As long as no sides are parallel, it's a trapezium. And I don't know how else, maybe we could do this and then really go like this. Up here. I don't even want to draw them because I just can't very well. So now that we've cleared away that monkey water, let's go back to what we really want to talk about, which are parallelograms. Just about every 4-sided shape that you think about is a parallelogram, and maybe you'll remember these here. The first one, let me find them here. Under that is a rectangle. I'll bet one of the first shapes after square you learned, and maybe circle, was rectangle. But the important thing here, 5th grade, is that you need to know the exact definition of what makes a rectangle a rectangle. Okay, math is an exacting sort of science. What is a rectangle? And this is the only thing that has to be true for something to be a rectangle. It needs to have 4 right angles. That is it. 4 right angles. If it has 4 right angles, technically it's a rectangle. Okay? Usually we think of a rectangle like this. And we always want to show right angles by drawing these little square corners, which we're not very good at doing that. This is your typical rectangle. But what you must remember is this. If you draw a square has 4 right angles, so technically a square is also and could also be called a rectangle. A square is really a special type of rectangle. Let's look at the exact definition of a square. I'm going to keep drawing it just to bother Sam. I will draw these 8s like this for the rest of
Just for Sam.
What is the exact definition of a square? Who thinks they know? Who takes a shot at it? Kendall? Yeah, that's a rectangle too, though. Something needs to separate squares from all rectangles. William?
4 equal sides.
Yeah, it has to have 2 things. A square has to have 4 equal sides, and it must also have 4 right angles. So you've got this, and remember in math, you want 4 right angles, so you draw these little square corners. How do I show that sides are equal? I put my little dash tick marks in them. That is a square. Okay? As is this a square. This is not a square. So with this, you can say this. Here's where it gets a little goofy. All squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. You have to think a little bit about that. They are all quadrilaterals. None of them are trapezoids or trapeziums. And then the last one we have to talk about, another one you don't hear about quite as much, but you probably maybe have seen it, is what's called a rhombus.
Yes.
What? Oh, yeah.
Anybody know what the exact definition of a rhombus is? Maybe you can figure it out based on these, because it has to do with these as well. This one's 4 right angles. This is 4 equal sides and 4 right angles. A rhombus is, Ethan?
It's like a square. It has all 4 equal sides.
Stop right there, that's it, that's all you need to know. Don't go any farther, because that's what makes a rhombus. 4 equal sides. Usually, when you think about rhombuses, what the picture that should come in your mind that Ethan was trying to say is it's like a squish square. It looks a little like this. As long as these sides are all equal, it is a rhombus. But what's the definition of a square? All squares also have 4 equal sides. So every square is also a rhombus. Because the definition of a square says it has 4 equal sides, and that's all that has to be true to be a rhombus. Every square is a rhombus, but not every rhombus is a square. It's kind of hokey there. All right, let me see how much they actually ask you this.
Except for the first one.
Yeah. So look in your books on page 266. I'll help you out a little bit with this. On page 266, if you look at letter F, practice problem letter F. Where it gives you this picture. Right, this is letter F. Page 286, what did I say?
266.
I gotta get them readers. Pretty soon, kids. I'm close. 286, how about? The directions say the words parallelogram, trapezoid, trapezium, rectangle, rhombus, and square were used in this lesson to describe quadrilaterals. Use every word that applies to describe each quadrilateral. So, if you were asked to use every possible name that this shape could have, what would be one of them? Jonah?
Square.
Okay, the obvious one is it's a square, and that's the one everybody thinks of right off the bat. But, Ellie Stewart, it's also it is also a rhombus. How do I know? Because a rhombus has 4 equal sides, and you look at that, and if it's a square, okay, it has to be a rhombus. Every square is a rhombus. John, it also is a
Parallelogram.
It is a parallelogram. It is also, Carolina,
Rectangle.
a rectangle, because the definition of a rectangle is that it has 4 right angles, and it does. A parallelogram says it has two sets of parallel sides, and it does. Are we missing any?
Yeah. Nope. No. I don't.
Ellie?
Quadrilateral.
It is. It's also a quadrilateral.
Oh.
I don't know if it said to name that, but that would be it. But it is a quadrilateral. So it's always good for you to go back and look at your notes as to what the exact definition is, because sometimes you'll start thinking, well, that's a square, it's not a rectangle. But yes, it is, because it has to just fit those 2 categories there. Consider yourself quadrilateral experts at this point.